No, it's not difficult. Ah, okay. No. Yes.
During the era of the crisis, of the financial crisis of Greece, people could not afford to buy new stuff, or no new constructions happened in that era, really few. A big part of architectural practice and construction practice turned into renovations. One thing that my office tried to do was minimal stuff with minimal gestures.
Και η Λένα Γιάννη στον χώρο της, έτσι. Πες της ότι...
Instead of highlighting the 3D aspect of an apartment, we're trying to make it feel like it's brought down to a 2D dimension. That everything is like drawn in a graphic way.
Κάπως πρέπει να θυμόμαστε...
There is one way to treat space, and that is to acknowledge that you have floor, walls, ceiling, and actually divide the space in that aspect. But we choose to divide it in a different aspect, and that is creating our own spaces. So instead of acknowledging that there is a floor, a ceiling, and a wall, we treat a certain area the same way everywhere. So instead of seeing these divisions, you see other divisions. Vertical divisions instead of horizontal divisions. And the interesting story is that this used to be like a family apartment building that was built from Lena's father. It was, it had the old style, let's say, of the 70s building. When the kids grew old and they left the house, Lena just took half of the apartment. For a 4-people family, it was like a small space. It's 80 square meters, but it's not a lot, So what we did here was we had to solve the problem that in a way what we had to do getting from the entrance is in order to get into the rooms there was no straight way to do it. So you had to pass through all the rooms. So instead of seeing that as a problem, we decided to make it like a path, a cascade of rooms. We did it in very rigid lines and using very vivid colors. It was very important because if you see the plan of the apartment, that this is a very peculiar space to be an entrance, and because of that we actually accentuated that idea. It puts you in a mood that you are entering a series of rooms. So the first room is the entrance, the second room, which is white, is the living room. That everything and individual colors flowed in it. So the next room is the epicenter of the house, the dining room, and that's why we lowered the ceiling. We make a very specific ceiling that it's from the same material, birch wood. The idea is to be very precise in our choice of materials. Whatever is white remains white, whatever is birch remains birch, whatever is blue remains blue. So we try to bring down all the details and make things look more evened out.
So this is almost like a little cabin in here, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's like an experience in a boat.
Και σε αυτό το τραπέζι παίζουμε και τα παιχνίδια μας, έτσι.
Yes, that's the table for board games.
Oh!
Yes. The dining area is the most important area of the apartment, and that's why we have highlighted this idea even by lowering the ceiling, so that gives an impression, and it's from birch wood, so it gives an impression that you are somehow in a dining room of a boat, and that brings back memories of gathering and togetherness in a way. So that works nicely as a threshold, and the threshold was the main idea and the main feature of the apartment. The idea that you go from one place to another, going through another area.
This, it's almost like a sliver, then the next step would be the kitchen, probably.
It's the kitchen, yes.
Right.
I think it has the most vivid color, the most graphic color of the apartment, which is this choice of blue. It's not a very big kitchen, but yet we try to find space in every area, and because the counter area is not enough as well, we try to minimize the functions on the counter and even put them in cupboards like, let's say, the coffee area. So whatever you do with a coffee, it's prepared here, and it doesn't happen on the counter, so the counter stays clear. Same for the microwave. Yes.
And some cabinets, everything's blue.
Everything is blue, yes.
Ήταν αρκετά δύσκολο να καταφέρουμε όλα τα αντικείμενα να τα κάνουμε ας πούμε στο μπλε. Π.χ. το θεματικό σώμα ή τον πάντο που έπρεπε να τα φτιάξουν όλα σε μια απόχρωση ενός πλακιδίου που βρήκαμε κάποια στιγμή.
It's very difficult actually, there are so many blues out there, so it was very difficult to actually try to build the idea of the blue. So we started, let's say, from the tile, and we built it on that, because beginning from the tile we try to find a company that gets a Korean counter that is close to that blue. So after we had these two elements, then we painted the lacquered wood in that color, and the same for the heating panel. In a small area, these details are very important.
Και το IKEA ευτυχώς μας είχε και σκαμπουδάκι για τα ψηλά.
That's true. Joseph says that even IKEA worked on our behalf because they actually found steps that are close to that color.
That's so funny.
And and even having the corners that one is painted like that. I mean, this idea of the limit is very, very important. How you treat the edges here, and there are some weird areas that the subspaces converge, so we had to find a solution, so we had to paint certain way from one part to the other just to keep that. So because everything was so close together, and because the private areas had to be close to the public areas and visible, the only way to actually solve this problem was to move the corridor of the private areas a little further up, so that we can create a distraction or an element of division between the areas. The choice for the private areas is that we play with black and white. Everything is constructed around this black box. That's the bathroom, yes, and the kids' room, and then still in white, Lena's and Joseph's bedroom. And everything is blackboard here, so whatever they can draw whatever they want, make things more lively in a way. For example, this is Celia's room.
What's your favorite part of your bedroom?
My desk.
Your desk?
The space is sufficient enough to host all the functions. Enough for the bed, enough for a desk, enough for a closet. Nothing, is more than what is needed, because we didn't have the space to actually do a lot of stuff. And by turning the idea of black here, and with this balcony over here, so you get the idea that the box goes around. So it's the black box that contains the two closets of the kids' bedroom, and in the middle the bathroom. We did bring back the wood element here, but still the whole feeling, it has this blackboard idea. It's a very nice and easy solution to actually bring light to the ceiling. If you do the plumbing right, and if you can bring the shower head coming from the ceiling, you get a nice effect, that pouring water coming from the luminous ceiling of the...
The whole ceiling is a light.
Yes,
right.
You just add light within, and you just put like plexiglass underneath, and it works nicely, and it's very easily done.
The wood? What kind of wood is that, by the way?
I think it's Iroko. This type of wood that they use in pools and things like that.
Oh, that's why it's
good for water.
okay.
Yes.
And
the same for the furniture here. Yes.
I like the window's almost like a porthole. Again, the ship.
Yes.
Are you thinking that?
The truth is that window used to be here, but in a way it creates a connection with the idea of the boat.
Yeah.
I think it has a connection with boats because boats always have a certain problem to solve, which is create spaces, functional spaces in very tiny areas. So this is Konstantinos' room, which is again, it's the same room with Silas, but in a totally different aspect because it has a different creative ideas from the part of Konstantinos.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So it actually makes the space feel more
Yes, it's like party.
like a party.
Yes.
Does it feel big enough?
It's perfect. It's also, it can,
Bring down this part of the desk so that it gets
Oh, really?
the space bigger.
Do you do that?
when I got friends here,
And
and
they play together on the
Yes.
computer and things like that. That bedroom is just all white. So it doesn't have any distinct feature unlike other rooms because we don't feel that this certain area has to make like a certain statement. Bedrooms are more important for kids because they are their own personal space and their own need for expression, whereas parents actually they have a whole expression in the common areas. So the bedroom is more like for them like a place to retreat in a way. There are many screens in that areas, and the idea was to try, instead of avoiding the idea of technology and the need for that, and because the kids always are around screens and things like that, they opted to actually bring all the technological stuff out in the public area so that the kids do things together.
So this was your family's, and they divided it in half. Cut
Yes,
it?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly, yes.
And did you think it would be big enough?
We are just two of us.
Oh, yeah. At that time, it was just two.
So it seemed right back then, and then time goes by and you take things for granted.
Yeah. So
Great.
through that wall are your parents?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So they'll come over a lot. Do they come?
Yes.
Yeah. So babysit or in the past, yeah.
And them and their dog because it used to be like one apartment that the balcony is one, it's still one,
connected.
and the dog comes through. Yeah, it's like just a
Rex?
great dog.
Rex, έλα εδώ. Έλα εδώ πάλι. Έλα εδώ.
Oh, that's great.
Come. Come. Έλα εδώ. Διστάζει.
No, doesn't want to.
It decides.
Αν είχαμε κρεατάκι.
It's this social culture of Greece that families stay together in a way. One of the good things is that raising children and have your father, mother close by or next door, it's very easy, for
Exactly.
practical issues, for the couple.
Ένα ταξίδι, τα
Yes,
παιδιά
you can
να-
go for a trip and you know that the kids are close by, so it makes things easier. I'm sure it makes some things harder. It's something that's customary in a way.
Back there.
What is going on around the world, there is a tendency to be very impressive about things and to always create a bigger impact in things. And having the opportunity to knowingly be out of that game, you have the time to actually question. And to understand that we architects have a certain responsibility to take these lessons from this era and what we learned through that and try to, instead of overdoing things, to actually know the limits of things and know the limits of expression. So to restrain yourself in a way. When they are, hanging out together in the night, they have only this light. So I guess just the screens if you're watching a movie, and this, and maybe let's say the fireplace in the winter.
Ναι, αχ,